I wanted it. If I am restrained, I have to go and attend the funeral of my Samandi, that is my daughter's brother-in-law died. And that function has started today. Yesterday I was there. In the midst, I took leave to come here at 9 o'clock and start this function. But Mr. Goswami told me that our people are arriving only and we may be late. You can come and then go. The burial is today and you know the function of the burial is I am to be with my family. Family has already proceeded there. And my brother who is here, somewhere either he has gone for another program, but he is also going. I first of all would like to tell you that you have a nice stay here. Hopefully you make this opportunity. Mr. Goswami was associating with us earlier in another form of meeting which was held here as a conclave for the ideological purpose. Ideological purpose means we are searching for a political unity and based on an ideology. That ideology is congenial to our constitution and is meant for the Indian people and Indian society. In that, very much Mr. Goswami was associated, which was conducted here, and Mehta Parekar was visitated on that day, and all that. Mr. Goswami was associate and also participated very actively, and he was staying in this campus, and that poked him to invite you up to this place. Okay, very good, very nice. You have a nice stay, and the director, one of the Dr. Director, Uni, who is Dr. Uni, who is professor of Human Medicine Colleges, already in the hall. They are, and the staff and others who are very small in number will be available, because this is not a business center, this is not a catering center. This is only a campus meant for meditation. And that Goswami, when he came here, he found that this facility is very good for such discussions, fruitful discussions. And he talked with my brother and they arranged it. That is the way you all are here. I, being a person behind these things, would like to welcome you all and say that your effort be fruitful. You use this facility. Maximum fruitful discussions you have, and you are engaged in a very, very important function, a very important role in building India. Not only building India, saving humanity. It's a problem how we can save the humanity. I found some of the documents issued by Kumar Swami in the camp. I went through it. I found that you are discussing the ecological, the substance and how Gargill report, Asturian report, Woman report and Western Ghats, and how the nature is to be secured for the purpose of continuity of life of man. That is the most important subject today which you are going to discuss. I am not going into the detail of your subject. You yourself will be having papers on that. And I having been in one particular sector with which the mission which you are taking are connected, and there is the United Nations International Labour Organization. There my involvement with global impact and climate change and the preservation of nature all are very much connected with one aspect, that is the humanitarian aspects. You know that when I am involved with ILO for the last 20 or 25 years as a representative of the Indian trade union movement, I do involve in Geneva in such discussions every year.
which goes from May to June. When the annual meeting is held, there will be one session basing on the nature, basing on environment protection and the global impact, and how humanity is affected on account of this, and how that is putting pressure on the working class. Mainly, my association with this movement is when I have to be frank that through the trade union movement and the labor movement. So actively involved in that. They have got global, when we discuss about the global job pact or how to save the human being, these aspects are also being discussed there. Some paper which I have collected, I will hand over the governing body decisions of the ILO for your future discussions in this. I am not standing in your way of discussions at length, because I am not intending for that. I know that you persons are fully involved in it and building it and experienced in it, and you will have your own contributions on that, and you will be able to prepare your own conclusions, paper, guidelines on all that. I am only technically involving with you for inaugurating this conference and to give you more than a subject which has been brought to my notice by Mr. Guruswamy from your records, that is the humanitarian aspect of preservation of nature, where working class is interested, trade union movements are interested, ILO is interested. ILO governing body is very much involved in it by passing conventions, resolutions, and forming it as a part of global job pact. Because ultimately everything ends in human life. And when the human life comes, when it faces a challenge, such challenges are on account of the attacks made on the nature. The recent havoc, there is COVID. How and in what manner that happened? What is the reason for it? When we inquire, we find that is because of the absence of decent work agenda in exploiting human being. When I say, from the trade union angle, when I say that the present system of organizing industrial estates, how industrial estate and its formation and the concentration of these industrial estates affects nature, and why earlier that was not affecting. Why production for the purpose of increasing production and exploit maximum labor and nature, both together they are organizing the industrial estates. And the COVID impact, how it happened. The cheap labor, how a country used human being for cheap labor have resulted in COVID, which the doctors are sitting here, they know that, which could not be prevented by any means. There is no recovery is found. How? There is exploitation of human being. Exploitation of the human being along with the nature, when that coupled together, we ourselves are on the way of destruction. And I know these 2-3 days you are going to discuss this important matter, and what I find from your papers, you are basically the papers which I found that it is with regard to nature, preservation of the water, all those things. Along with that, the ultimate one is the preservation of the human being, and where the humanism comes in, and that is in contradiction. And let your discussion also be on that line, and I shall hand over the governing body decision of the ILO in this matter for your discussions. And if you can find out ways and means to link it with the ILO and its governing body resolutions, and whether you can organize programs along with that, then I assure you the people whom I represent mainly in India, that is the working class, will be a part of yours. When I say working class, you know that I happen to be the president of a national movement for the last 10 years. That is Hinmasu Sabha, which is the largest trade union in India, in the organized sector and unorganized sector. Its membership goes in crores. And all the trade unions together has formed. But when you look at, or people look at a trade union, they found it is only an agitational organization for the rights of the workers. Assessment is that, but there is a different rule. That different rule is they work for sustained development. The sustenance of the nature. They work for, they want to work in tandem with movements like your movements. And always programs are there in that respect. Hello, Ravi. So that the importance of a trade union movement to associate with your movement is there, and already we have some sector where we are working with. ILO has got its program, and their governing body has given approval for that, and they are working on that line. And if you can club together this trade union movement and your movements together, that will be of useful. The recent event on which you are working, that is the Madhav Gadgil report as well as Kasturi Rangan report and all that. That is very, very, very important. I need not say anything about it with the experience which we had last 3-4 years. The flood, untimely flood, the risk of human life. That is very well, we are suffering it. The consequences are well
is there. So in these circumstances, my request while inaugurating the meeting is that you have an association and involvement with the trade union movement. Trade unions, only 7% of the working class are only organized sector. The others are in unorganized sector. Already 600 million people are there. They are suffering. The sufferings and consequences on them on account of non-preservation of nature and playing with nature and exploitation maximum, the resultant had been on the working class. I need not explain to you all that, the blood that was poured on the rail track, the migrant workers going back to their house. When this havoc has come, what is such a situation, how it happened? If we could preserve the nature, if we were friendly with the nature, such a havoc could not have happened. If there was healthy conditions, equality, therefore what? I stand for equality. The whole meeting which we held here is only for that purpose, the unity of the socialist forces. Socialism, where men are equal, men and women, everyone is equal, and we have got a right over the everything equally. But here it is not like that. It is concentration of wealth. Few people who are able to exploit nature, who are free to exploit the money, who are free to do things, and they are controlling. And on account of that, the masses are put to difficulty. There we will have to discuss it together with the involvement of the working class, and I assure you, I will be there with you in that aspect, and I may be able to correlate with you that, and with this promise, with this involvement, I inaugurate your fruitful discussions, and in the course of events, I may join you in due course when it comes into the fulfill for the purpose. Now it is already very late. You may have to plan it to your discussions. So I am not talking much. I will involve with you. This paper I will hand over to you. This is the governing body resolution of the ILO, which you may be helpful for you for future programs. Your thing. I officially inaugurate this conference. Thank you very much.
And address to that also. And associate with ILO also in future course of our action. We will have an action plan at the end of this discussion and present it to itself. And wherever it is possible, we will link it, integrate it. After all, it is for humanity. We take note of it, seriously discuss about that. Our experts are there. It is multi-dimensional, I will say. The approach is not single. It's multi-dimensional. On not only only on environment, not only on industrialization, not only on exploitation of human beings. So many factors are there. So we have to pass it on to the posterity, our good wealth resources. Thank you very much for having given a nice guideline so that we can take it forward. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
From Kerala, some friends will be joining you. Already Manoj Sarek, who is there, was associated with Guruswami earlier. He has come, and John Vibanganam, who is very much active in the green movement in Kerala, he will be joining you. Then some other persons also, C. Kumar and Nair from Trivandrum. They are all active. Two things they are active. One is they are humanists, therefore they are very much in the socialist movement. At the same time, they are very much with Guruswami in his movement. So they have come. Manoj has already come. The others will join in that movement because I am told that they will be reaching at 11:30. I will be now leaving for the Juhar function of.
So again, in the midst of a crisis, it's a family crisis. We raised our occasion. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you, sir.
Really, I am not happy. Rogani Chaturvedi, keynote address, and Krishna Kumar Singh, who was an MLA from Madhya Pradesh as an independent. And it is unfortunate that when they are speaking, you are not here. And anyhow, you kindly join us, sir.
I will try to be here. You will be here. So
We can have some discussion.
you are
By the time of dinner,
3 days program, isn't it? 3 days program, isn't it?
3 days. 3 days they are here.
In the mode, in the
Mid-stage
in the space, I will join.
Chairman Sri Rajendran ji. And first of all, I must thank Sri Guruswami ji for having invited me here and sharing this dais and also sharing my thoughts. Since 2 days, we've been sort of thinking about as to what do we say to this gathering here. I'm not a very technical person as far as the rivers are concerned, not a very technical person for anything actually, because as you know, I'm a politician basically. I was elected twice in Madhya Pradesh Vidhan Sabha, ex-MLA from there. So we think in general terms. We politicians think in general terms. As Sri Thompson, Thomas. So as he sort of addressed us just now today, it was very clear that what needs to be done is collective. We need to have a kind of a drive. People has to come out and say something to convince the government to do things. So what I'm going to talk about here is basically how we as politicians see things and where are we lacking. We were told as an agenda, there are 3 basic things on this agenda today. One is that the advocacy for creating a lobby to promote protection of rivers and environment. The second agenda could be that to study the reports, whoever it might be. For example, let's say we were talking about Gargill report. To study these reports and bring out the best that is possible for this particular circumstances that we are trying to do. Gadgil report is a massive, I mean, it's a fantastic report. It's something which is amazing kind of work which has been done on the Western Ghats. So to extract something out of that, think about it, and bring it to our present circumstances. That's the second. The third and important one for me, which I'm going to talk about, is the fact that ultimately whatever you might decide here has to be brought to the government. Because whatever we are doing almost like pilot projects. We are doing little work here, we're doing little work there. We think that we've done a great job in few panchayats, but that's only a pilot project as far as the country is concerned. But the issue is not only the country, but the global. So when the issue is global and we are doing at the panchayat level, I think it's smaller than a pilot project. So ultimately, we have to bring out something which will convince the government to take it up in a larger scale, a so-called scaling. Now we come to the point that if we were to bring it to the government, why is the government not looking at these things? I have been noticing that we had a meeting in Chennai for the farmers' movement. Some of you were there. The farmers' movement had spread so much, and we had to have a meeting in Chennai, and the big leaders of the farmers came. But ultimately, it was the drive of the whole movement of the country to make the government move. So here we are talking about a movement. We are talking about, but why it is not happening for the environment and water and the Western Ghats. The government needs to be driven by people. Gadgil report has been sitting there on the shelves and collecting dust for how many years now? Why has the government not looked at it? As it was mentioned earlier, it was diluted by another report. Why? Because the government did not like the way the Gadgil report presented few issues and needs to be brought to the way the government looked at things. So here we are talking about convincing a government to do something and why it's not happening. So here I will not go into the whys as to why not happening. There are so many issues why not happening. I am going to concentrate on how. How do we convince the government? Now the question is, there are two different kind of politicians. I think you'll have to just bear with me because I'm gone away from the subject of rivers and technical part of it. But it's the most important as far as I feel, because whatever might be discussed, it is the government which has to implement. So how? How do we do it? So there are two different kind of politicians. One is a statesman and the other is a politician. A statesman is a politician, or he's in the politics because he looks at things holistically. And Mr. Natarajan was talking about holistic views. He's looking at holistic views of any issue. And he is looking at what is good for the people, good for the environment, good for the nation, good for the globe, good for the world. And he acts upon it not considering whether he might be brought back to the government or not, because he feels it so intensely that he needs to act on it. It doesn't matter whether he will get the votes or not. Right. Thank you. The second is a politician. A politician will follow the people's mind. He's not concerned whether it's a good for the nation, good for the society, good for anyone in collectively. Is it good for him? Whether he is going to get that vote or not. And he will act according to that. If there's a land grabbing happening somewhere, sand mining happening somewhere, maybe he's the first one to stand in front because he's gaining something out of it, and maybe the the mafia of sand mining might help him in the next elections. So he's only looking at his own interest and acting upon that. But as we all know, there are hardly any statesmen in this country anymore. We only have politicians. So how do we go about it? What do we do? We have only the politicians, and we have to have the something like our report to be implemented. So I believe that we have to have the movement of the people. The people have to say to the politician, this is what we want. And then he has no choice but to go about and do it. The farmers' movement was just that. The farmers' movement said, this is what we want, and we are going to sit here, no matter how long. And that brought about such a stubborn government today to its knees and to take back the three amendments, three bills. So how do we develop this? How do we develop this movement? Now, I am not going to go into, because all of you are activists here. You work in the field of movements. You know exactly what to do. So I'm not going to talk about that. But all I can say is that everyone has to come together. As Mr. Natarajan said, a very, very, very important thing here. That there has to be one platform where everyone speaks the same language. You cannot have different platforms talking about different things and then expect the government to do it, because they know that the government knows that I can make this chap happy and I don't care about the other one. But everyone speaks the same language, then you get the same thing throughout the country. There is no escape from for the government. And for that reason, it's unfortunate that some of the people who have been working with the rivers today are not here, who have been doing the Zoom meetings almost every second day, every week. I've been watching that, but today they are not here. And I wanted to say this to them, but nonetheless, I want to point out one thing, that today the social media is one of the most powerful tools to be used for anything, for trolling people or to projecting an idea, to do whatever you want to do. That is the most powerful tool. And that needs to be utilized to the fullest. What I feel, I'm sure there'll be presentations of rivers and sand mining and others I've been told. But what I want to say here is that there needs to be a map, a digital map of all the work that is happening on environment, whether it's a protection of the rivers, whether sand mining or whatever. And that kind of geo-referencing map, which can pinpoint the micro-level areas of work anywhere, and also highlighting the societies, the people who are working there to protect. They need recognition. These people who are in the field need recognition. And that recognition has to be complete pan-India, pan-world. So that person sitting in anywhere in the part of the world can zoom into the smallest streams of this area and say, okay, who is working here? who's working on this stretch of river? Who's working on this stretch of stream? Which is the society? If they're doing good work, maybe they will donate, they will help, sitting wherever they are in the world. So that kind of awareness is required to build a movement which will then only get the implementation done. We are here for a few days, maybe next 2 days at least, we are here to thrash out these ideas which might come up. And in case anything that needs to be looked at, the geo-referencing maps or digital maps which can help, I'm always ready to help and put in my little bit of work that needs to be done. And with that, I thank everyone for listening to me and giving a thought in the next 2 days, whatever one has to sort of discuss and debate and come to a conclusion. Thank you very much, Mr. Radhan.
Sir, it's my privilege to thank you for having drawn 4 issues before us. A clear-cut demarcation between a politician and a statesman. One is looking at holistically, another one is sectoral, and it is temporary. And you highlighted about the movement. Yes, there will be a movement. As if 73rd Amendment is taken for granted, and if it is well known to the people, no politician can enter into the village. That is one aspect on which I am working on it. And we have succeeded also. I am proud to say she is part of the system. She is the state coordinator for that system. We traveled throughout the length and breadth of Tamil Nadu, if I remember, and accepted our views. That is a highlight. So earlier I was referring to that platform wherein we should form as a pressure. Sir was referring to that, right, sir? It should be a permanent body. Earlier also I was referring to that. Once again he reiterated the same thing, so we accept. We will say it will be even a single part. They built themselves, they traveled, understood our people's nature, none responded to that extent. Politicians dominated the minds of them. I can say that they have exploited the people to such an extent. It's irreversible, yet it is reversible. Some people, knowledgeable people, if they come across with our statement and ideology, ideological identity is Thomas was talking. This is one ideology where the whole of India can join. It's a constitutional mandate, something that is either in Kanyakumari or in Kashmir, one of the same. 29 items. It is vested with the P-2. It is the prerogative right to utilize that. If they pass a resolution in the Panchayat, it is the final authority. No one can intervene, including the Chief Minister and Prime Minister, because the will of the people is the will of the state. That is the will. Okay, that is part of it. Now, we request Madam Snehal to deliver
Yeah.
ideas. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Natarajanji, and to Guru Swamiji, who has given all of us an opportunity to assemble here and deliberate on the preservation of the Western Ghats for its water resources. Here I have come as a learner, and everywhere I go and crave for learning only, hence I go from one place to the other. I think I'm the most luckiest among all of you probably that I have worked on most of the major rivers across India. And I have been able to see the actual status of rivers across India, right from starting from all the western flowing rivers in Maharashtra, Goa, to Godavari, in Nasik completely I have seen, and even in Chhattisgarh. Yamuna I have seen from Delhi as well as Agra and Sonipat region. Then Ganga, I have worked from Bihar to West Bengal. Then Mahanadi, I have earlier seen from Orissa side, and just 2 days before I was in Chhattisgarh, so I could see the conditions of Indravati and Mahanadi from Chhattisgarh side. as well as recently I had visited Jabalpur, where I could see Narmada's condition. So I think I'm the most versatile, if I say, in terms of where to see the conditions of rivers across India. At the same time, I come from Maharashtra, where recently you must be reading in the newspapers also about the metro car shed which is being developed in the RA forest. And for that also we are fighting, across with the authorities as well as with PILs and court and everywhere. Where I stay in Mumbai, at the heart of the city in Goregaon. Behind my house, from my window, I can see Dindoshi Hills, which are very, very important in Mumbai. And it's the only hill and the lungs of the Mumbai. That I'm trying to save. Recently, I have also done the police case on it, because from the forest point of view, there are so many forest acts which actually we are not aware about, and because of which what happens, that which are the reserve forest, which are the private forest land, which are the pasture land. So these things we are not knowing, which are the protected lands, and how, whether protected lands can be given by government to anybody, who has the authority to give the reserve forest lands, and if that authority has been given to some particular body, like suppose I'm giving an example of this RA car shed, where railways have been given permission to do the car shed work in the forest land. But for such kind of work in the forest land, it is only the central government or the Supreme Court who has got the right, from where a special permission has to be availed. And see, another thing, that when a permission has been given for one purpose, it cannot be transferred automatically to somebody else, which is happening very rampantly across India, because we are not aware about the rules and regulations. Similarly, on private lands, which I am fighting, I said about the Dindoshi Hills, which is given as a private land to a private party, who is doing all kinds of building work and all. An IT park has been developed completely in the heart of the city, cutting the hills. There's mining going on. Till date, actually, I was also naive. I was not knowing about the rules and all. Slowly I've started learning about this forest rules, and then I have dared to do the police case on this Dindoshi hill cutting. But you can imagine, it's a big lobby of builders who doesn't allow this our complaints to become into an FIR. In fact, I don't leave any stone unturned. I have also complained to the DCF, that is Deputy Conservator of Forest, by showing the rules that tell me under what conditions this private land has been given to such a party. To my utter surprise, I will tell you that because see, these government officers, their job is transferable. They don't know who has done at what time and whether that land also belongs to them or not. First question was that the authority started asking whether it is coming under our jurisdiction in the Thane region or whether it is Sanjay Gandhi National Park. That also I had to tell them, no, it is under your geographical, the thing, it is coming under you, please make an inquiry. So, coming to the point of Western Ghat also, I would request that when we are talking about Western Ghats, because see, today each one of us have to learn little bit about the rules, regulations and the policies. Of course, they have been flaunted, they are being rampantly, anything is going on. But to challenge, we have to know some of the rules and regulations about it. And mostly, let me tell you, as rivers have already become totally polluted and they are drying everywhere. Because we know rivers are being now converted into nalas by making the walls on the sides. Again, coming back to Mumbai, you are aware of that lifeline is Meethi River. That is on everyday news. Across Mumbai, we have 5 rivers in Mumbai, but we were not knowing, because we get all the water in Mumbai from the village sources. From the village side, all the water is coming piped to the Mumbai region, and we don't have any kind of scarcity of water. Hence, we neglected all our rivers. But recently, now the attention is being drawn, and even, I make an attempt to go to all these rivers. I make it Facebook Live so that as many people, they should be able to see. And if we have to make them aware and if we have to make them sensitive, we have to make every people, we have to mobilize them to get into this work. So I have to do this kind of work also. So we are making these kind of, that means I'm trying to tell you. And when I was in Delhi, when I saw Yamuna's condition, see, I saw a lot of erosion happening in one of the site of Sonipat region. And in that erosion site only, there is people also carry so much of myth and misunderstandings about certain things, that they don't believe that the Yamuna is so much polluted and they should not go inside the Yamuna. They bring their small children also dipping in the polluted water of river just under the religious sentiments. But they are not understanding that they, and actually after I did the police case about this erosion happening and the pollution, and the police standing over there and not taking any action, next day only in the news we heard about the drowning of some small children. So wherever I go, I make an attempt that I will walk down to the police station, or I am trying to do this way by writing to the authorities. We have to now start with this kind of an activities. Because we see these things, we understand about these things, we get agitated about it, we understand that there is all wrong things happening. But we are still believing in going to the courts, and it is a long process. And we know after coming, winning also from the courts also, whatever the orders have been given, they are also not complied. Whether it is NGT, whether it is Supreme Court, or whether it is High Court. So they are not being complied. Most of the cases, just look at it. And by the time you go, you win, all that projects are also over, maximum exploitation is over, and maximum we have already, done the kind of situation we have created which cannot be revived. So we reached to that state. And today, let me tell you one more case. Actually, I'm doing a lot of work in different states also. So I'm also working for Gujarat, Goa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and one more I'm forgetting. So when I was in Goa, and from Goa I went to Maharashtra, in Dodamarg region, there is actually transborder issue of a river, which is, sharing of water in the upstream and the downstream by the two state people. Now, in Maharashtra, there is a check dam anecut kind of a structure which is being built in a river, which has now stopped the water which was flowing towards the Terekol river in the Goa. Now, both the states are fighting. But by the time we wrote to the collector and they make the investigation, this anecut was ready. Now, why this anecut has been developed? Because in that region, again, MIDC, that is Industrial Development Corporation, they have started the work and they want to set the industries. Now, another irony of our situation, on every river bank, most of the river bank, at least I can say for about Maharashtra, but across India also the same condition. That everywhere on the bank of rivers, there is industries being given permission to set up, and by the policy of the government only. And by this, what is happening? They are using the water from the river and releasing all the polluted water in the river. Another thing which people are not understanding, although Supreme Court has given the verdict also, that treated water is being released into the river, which is not supposed to be. Come with me and see in the Nasik in Godavari river. I think you must have seen in that day's meeting where I shared the videos also. The treated water, you will not imagine, it is worse than the polluted water, which is all of foams, and that is getting directly released into the water, and in the Godavari it is released. So we can imagine the same water flowing to the 5 states in that status. So this is the situation across India. So now we have to understand each and every policies of it. Just now Krishna Kumarji has brought to our attention, and others also have brought to our attention, that this Gadgil report was there. Kasturi Ranganji's also report is there on that. But why these, whatever the recommendations which are being given by the experts, why they are not being implemented, why they are not being adopted, why government then appoints such a body, why such a lot of amount of money which is wasted for this report making and all, and ultimately they are not being used. Under the influence of any political party which comes and to oblige their voters, that things are going on. See, voters, who are the voters? We are the voters. So now we have to ensure that as much as we can mobilize people to come and work for this kind of a cause and make them understand, make them aware of these things, I don't think scenario will change. As many of us can come together and this type of forums. But one thing about these type of forums are, we all are already working for this cause. And then we only meet and we only deliberate. And then it doesn't go to the general masses. I think now it is time that it has to reach to masses. Every program, every small thing which is happening, it has to go to the masses. Because as much masses will get, sensitized, that much I think we will be able to reach to the solution. So with this, I'll stop my brief talk about whatever I had to say, because there is a lot that we are trying to do. But the common issues is all over the same. That is garbage dumping. You will see all over across the rivers. Even concretization. Yesterday also, when I was standing on the Chhattisgarh, Mahanadi, there some construction of embankment was going on, cementing was going on on the riverside, saying that erosion is happening, so concretization. So I said that again, knowing about the issues that concretization is not supposed to be done, and we are destructing the habitats, but still we are not doing a proper mapping or technical mapping or habitat mapping, and we go ahead with whatever the way the construction, the consultant which has been given the construction work. And I tell you, no engineers visit also those places. Most of the places I have found, then engineer, when we call them, in case of RA also, and about Chhattisgarh, yesterday I tried to call that person, SDO. He is not knowing only that work has started. Oh yes, is the work started? Just see. That means no guidance, no supervision under no one, that it is that they know that just use the JCBs or Nikalo Mitti. Lot of mining, sand mining is going on in the river. I could not believe my eyes when I saw in the river itself many these vegetable vendors. They have put, linings of the concrete things in the river itself. Black linings I have shared in my Facebook. You please keep on checking my Facebook always, because I make it live so that most of the people should see. They put those there, a different kind of stone mining which happens there. They have some tiles kind of stones which are there. And then with that, they put demarcation that this much area is mine, this much. Like that, many of the vegetable vendors, they have marked in the river itself, in Mahanadi itself, and in that they are storing water, and then watermelon plantation or such kind of some fruit plantations and vegetable plantations are going on in the mid of Mahanadi. And at the same time, all these building people and sand miners, they are just removing sand. I have lot of pictures which can, it gives an impression that everything, whatever it is going on today in the rivers, is totally unscientific. Now it is, that's why I say we have to come to action rather than just discussing, and then whatever little we can do, we should act on it. So thank you so much.
See, the clearance was given by the state government. He is the culprit. Clearance was given by the forest department. Clearance was given by the environmental department. They fought for it, and they were branded as Naxalites. And the younger generation were put into jails. Yet they fought for 4 years and saw to that the company is closed and sent out. Even the Supreme Court supported at one point of time. Yet they didn't stop. They relentlessly fought for 4 years and driven them out from Bihar forest. This is a stunning, just like my Lama case. This happened in Bihar. There is an episode like that. So, knowledgeable people with some guts should intervene and stop this. We must know some of the forest acts also. So, we must thank Snehal Madam for highlighting all these things. Next, we will call upon Mr. Sabari Subramaniam sir to address. Please.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். தேங்க்யூ சார், தேங்க்யூ. இப்போ நம்ம இந்தியாவில் இருக்கக்கூடிய பல்வேறு பிரச்சனைகளில் முக்கியமானது நீர் சம்பந்தப்பட்டது, வாட்டர் ரிலேட்டட் ப்ராப்ளம். That is, we can call it as water woes also. In summer days, people are suffering for want of water, and in rainy days, especially I am talking about Chennai and Tamil Nadu. In rainy days, a lot of water it is getting entering into the houses and creating a lot of problem. From our childhood, we have listened about Bihar il Vellam, floods in Bihar, Assam, Tripura. Near about 12 states are getting the Brahmaputra waters. And so many rivers in India, they are not even using 30% of the water from the rivers. Whereas so many states, more than 18 states, they are not getting their minimum waters. So we are the activists, intelligence, intellectuals, experts. We should try hard to see that Aam Aadmi are getting the water for drinking and for irrigations. Like in Telangana, some of our people sitting here went and visit the Telangana Kaliswaram project. In say near about 62,000 crores, they have stored near about 720 TMC water in the, I think so. I'm not the particular, the figure is may not be correct, but they stored more near about 720 TMC of water in the river itself. 70, yeah. They are not constructing any dam or not used any other land area. Maximum they store the water in the river itself. Whereas in other states, lakhs of rupees, crores of rupees are spent on this river management. It may be called the Januram River Consolidation Projects or Water Consolidation Project, are getting fund from the ADB, UDB, Japan, and not even 1 TMC of water has been stored in these projects. Like these mark for borewells, putting lot of mark for borewells, it creates more problem than solving the problem, because it is putting the surface water into the deep, and the farmers are not getting the water, and they are also not using the water which available judicially. So we have a need an interaction between the farmers, government, as well as activists. Even though every month we are meeting, especially experts we are meeting, and the activists they are meeting in various areas. And regarding Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, मुंबई में जब बाढ़ आती है, नियर अबाउट एक हफ्ता के लिए वो ऑटो भी नहीं चल सकता है. The same time, in Marathwada, not more than 320 or 700 kilometers from Mumbai to Marathwada. This water can be transferred back to Marathwada, where the largest suicide of farmers in India in Marathwada region, because of want of water and non-judicial utilization of water. And the Mumbai people are suffering of lot of water, and the Marathwada people are suffering want of water in the same time. And whereas the Mumbai is the capital city of India, where ज़्यादा करोड़पति रहते हैं, अगर ये लोग चाहते हैं तो ये मुंबई के पानी को मराठवाड़ा में बेच सकता है. इट इज़ नॉट सो, बिकॉज आजकल के ज़माना में जो भी चाहते हैं वो कर सकता है. ये साइंटिफिकली वी आर मोर डेवलप्ड, बट नॉट द गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग दैट. Neither the government is doing that, nor the NGOs are not doing that, nor the publics are doing that. In Tamil Nadu, in the historic period from the Maharajas kingdom, they have constructed thousands of lakhs of, near about more than 30,000 water bodies are in Tamil Nadu. Because the Tamil Nadu have no perennial river. Jeevanadi, Tamil Nadu illadanaala, Mannar Kalathila, kingdom mein lot of more than 30,000 water bodies are constructed. The most lakes in world, it's in Kanjivaram district. But last 40 years, it has not been promoted. Even though the lot of river basin is in Tamil Nadu, that is Pala river basin, Kosasthala river basin, Kaveri river basin, and the Rajas are connected the rivers with the water bodies. When the river flows, the water enter into the water bodies, and these lakes water, the farmers have done their irrigation activities. But what happened in the last 40 years, neither the river basin has been maintained properly, nor these water bodies are maintained properly, because previously, before British period, the Kudimaram system was there. Now it has been taken over by this PW department, and where the corruption entered, and these water bodies are not maintained properly. And the rivers has been exploited by sand mafias, and the village is 30 meters above the river, and the water can't get up and go to the water bodies. So they started constructing check dams, and when flood comes, check dams broken, the water is going on. In 390 crores, the Tiruchi barrage has been constructed. When floods came, one single door has been opened and the entire water has gone on. In Kosasalar Basin, they constructed the check dam for cost of 30 crores. And it has not, when water comes, it has gone. Why? Because the sand mafia people are mining in near the dams, check dams. So automatically when flood comes, the check dams are broken. So what the farmers has to do, what the people has to do. Our democratic country, we people has to create democratic pressure. I am again asking, some of my sisters from Mumbai are coming, why Mumbai is flooding? What is the problem? Why can't the scientists and the economical capital of India can transfer this Mumbai water river back to Marathwada? When we are bringing, Tamil Nadu is bringing the river water from Telangana, it is 720 kilometers. And from Viranam to Chennai, it is 320 kilometers. So this is all some fault. That is, faulting on government is not good. People has to take this flooding, because near about 10 days or 7 days, entire Mumbai is flooding of this water. So this water, it is a liquid gold. Like the hills is called Vairam. Granite stone is a Vairam. In harbor, some gentleman from mining also attended this meeting. In harbor, every day, one mountain is transferring to China. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh tons of stones, granite stone is transferring from India with a single harbor. I am talking about single harbor, that is from Chennai, going to China. Do you think China don't have this Malay, that is mountain? They have, but they know the value of the mountain. We Indians, not knowing the value of mountain, we are mining our mountain and selling it to the other nations. And coming to the water, we are not using the water in a proper way. Like Mumbai people has to make it sure next flood itself, they should send the water back to Marathwada region. So if farmers are given water, they will do it in a pakka, அதாவது நம்ம விவசாயம் பண்ணணும்னா அந்த main ingredient. If water have, they will do it. If no water, all other ingredient, but they can't do it. Like water bodies, we have to maintain water bodies. That is, community conservation group has been formed for each water body and make it sure it is not used as a dumping yard or not putting as a sewage pool. We should preserve the water body. In foreign countries, wherever water bodies, they are forming a society and they are making sure that water body has been preserved and using it in water leisure like that. And the people are enjoying. In some states, especially Tamil Nadu, they are not respecting the water because they are suffering. Because water is a Lakshmi. When we born and when we died, the first thing and last thing, we are using water. We have to respect the water. Let us respect the water. Thank you.
தமிழ்நாடு சார்ந்தவர்களுக்கு சார் பேசுறது for other friends, the problem highlighted by our good friend Subramaniam was this: India was facing the climate problem of flood and drought. It is age-old problem right from the days of Gale Rosser. Even today it persists. We have to understand that, and that's a difference. Similarly, Tamil Nadu is also facing the climate problems of flood on the one hand, drought on the other hand. So unproductive expenditure from the government and exploitation. Nothing more than that. In this respect, I was worried that I have taken a small project in Southern district-wise, micro level, integrated, not surplus water is being transferred. That's all. Nothing more is required. For that 700 crore is required. If it is stored, harnessed and utilized properly, 65% of the Tamil Nadu problem could be solved. Even today it has fallen to relevance. That is the issue about which Subramania has spoken. And we were curious, given one we should form a pressure group. That's what Mr. Rajendra Singh was doing in Rajasthan. Similar pressure group should be formed in respective villages so that they can take care of themselves. No intervention from the government and other agencies required at all. It is being protected in some of the places where we intervene and protect. That is a different story. Along with the discussion, we will explain the issues. Now it's our
വേദിയിലും സദസ്സിലും എത്തിക്കുന്ന വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തികളെ, ശ്രീ ഗുരുസ്വാമിയെ അടക്കം ശ്രീ വിളയാടി വേണുഗോപാൽ അടക്കമുള്ള സുഹൃത്തുക്കളെ, കേരള നദീ സംരക്ഷണ സമിതിയുടെ സെക്രട്ടറി എന്ന നിലയിൽ എനിക്ക് പൂർണ്ണമായ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ സംസാരിക്കാനുള്ള അത്രയുള്ള കഴിവില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ പ്രാദേശിക തന്നെയല്ല മറ്റ് സ്ഥലത്ത് നിന്ന് വന്നിട്ടുള്ള മലയാളത്തിലൊന്ന് സംസാരിക്കുക, അതുകൂടിയാണ് ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിലാണ് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് മുന്നേ മേഡം പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ കേരളത്തിൽ 44 നദികളുണ്ടെങ്കിലും അതിലേതാണ്ട് 60% നദീ സംരക്ഷണ സമിതിയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടൊരു സംഘടനയിലാണ് ഞാൻ പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നത്, കേരള നദീ ഓൾ കേരള റിവർ പ്രൊട്ടക്ഷൻ കൗൺസിൽ. നദികൾ ഇന്ന് സംഭവിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത് എന്താ പറയുക, വെള്ളത്തിന് യാതൊരു ക്ഷാമവുമില്ല. കേരളത്തിൽ വെള്ളം ധാരാളമുണ്ട്. 44 നദികളിൽ സമ്പന്നമാണ് കേരളം. പക്ഷേ കുടിവെള്ളമില്ലാത്തൊരു സ്ഥിതിവിശേഷത്തിലാണ് കേരളത്തിലെ ജനങ്ങൾ. അതിൻ്റെ മുഖ്യ കാരണം ഈ പറയുന്ന കമ്പനികളിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്ന വിഷജലങ്ങളും അതുപോലെ ഈ നദികളിലേക്കുള്ള കയ്യേറ്റങ്ങളും നദികളിൽ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന പ്രാദേശിക കമ്പനികൾ കൂടാതെയുള്ള മലിന വസ്തുക്കൾ വന്നു ചേരുന്നതും ഇപ്പോൾ കുറച്ച് കാലങ്ങളായിട്ട് പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്കുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് നദികളിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്നതും ഇതെല്ലാം നദികളെ മലിനമാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അതേക്കുറിച്ചാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ എന്താ പറയുക, അതിലെ കയ്യേറ്റങ്ങളും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതുമായി വരുന്ന കുറേ വിഷയങ്ങളാണ് എനിക്ക് മുന്നേ സംസാരിച്ചതിൽ നിന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചത്. അത്തരം വിഷയങ്ങളിൽ കൂട്ടായ ശ്രമങ്ങളിൽ മറ്റു സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങളോട് ഇപ്പോൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ ഒരു യോഗത്തിൽ നമ്മുടെ പ്രകാശ് റാവു സാർ പറയുകയുണ്ടായി, കേരളത്തിലെ മൊത്തം നദികളുമായുള്ള പ്രവർത്തകർ കൂട്ടായ ഒരു പ്രവർത്തനത്തിലൂടെ പോയാലേ നമുക്ക് ഒരുമിച്ച് തുടർ നടപടികളായിട്ട് പോകാൻ സാധിക്കുകയുള്ളൂ. ആ വിധത്തിലുള്ള പ്രവർത്തനം ഉണ്ടാകാൻ സംഭവിക്കണമെന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മളും കൂടി ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. ആ ഒരു വിഷയത്തിലേക്ക് ഈ സംഘടന ഓൾ ഇന്ത്യൻ പെനിൻസുലർ റിവർ പ്രൊട്ടക്ഷൻ കൗൺസിലിൻ്റെ അതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ നമുക്കിവിടെ നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ആ വിഷയത്തിലും കൂടി എന്താ പറയുക, എനിക്കത് അവിടെ ഇതുപോലെ മറ്റൊരു വിഷയം കൂടിയുണ്ട്. കേരളത്തിൽ കഴിഞ്ഞ 2018, 2019, 2020 വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കമുണ്ടായി. ഈ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കത്തിന് ശേഷം പറയുന്നത് ഈ പറയുന്ന നദികളിലെ ചെളികളെല്ലാം മാറ്റുന്നു എന്നുള്ള ധാരണയിൽ അതിൽ നിന്ന് സാൻഡ് മൈനിങ് നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. സാൻഡ് മൈനിങ് എന്ന മുഖ്യൊരു വിഷയം തന്നെയാണ്. അത് എത്രത്തോളം പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാലും പ്രാദേശികമായിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ അതിൻ്റെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പൊളിറ്റീഷ്യൻസ് ഈ ചെളി മാറ്റുന്നു, അല്ല ഇതിൽ പുഴയിൽ അടിഞ്ഞുകൂടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ചെളി മാറ്റുന്നു എന്നുള്ള വ്യാജേന മണൽ എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ശരിക്കും പറയുന്ന ഭാരതപ്പുഴയിൽ നിന്ന് ഈ അടുത്ത കാലത്തായിട്ട് വളരെ കൂടുതൽ മണൽ എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അത് ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് എടുത്ത് മറ്റുള്ള സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലേക്ക് വിതരണം നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ആ സാൻഡ് മൈനിങ് ശരിക്കും ആകെ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ കേരളത്തിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ മണലുള്ള ഒരേ ഒരു സ്ഥലം ഭാരതപ്പുഴയാണ്. ആ മണലാണ് എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഓൺലി സം സാൻഡ് മൈനിങ് വെരി ഫാസ്റ്റ്ലി ഇൻ ഭാരതപ്പുഴ. അത് ഭാരതപ്പുഴയിലെ മണൽ വളരെ കൂടുതൽ വരിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അത് ശരിക്കും നമ്മളെ എന്താ പറയുക, നമ്മുടെ ഈ വിഷയങ്ങളിൽ തന്നെ, അതായത് നമ്മുടെ ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ അടുത്തതായിട്ട് എന്താ പറയുന്ന കേരയിൽ അങ്ങനൊരു സംവിധാനം കേരളത്തിലൂടെ പാസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. അതിനും ഈ പറയുന്ന പുഴയിലെ മണലല്ലെങ്കിൽ പാറകൾ പൊട്ടിച്ചാണ് ഈ പറയുന്ന കേരളയിലും കൂടി സംഭവം ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. ഇപ്പം ശരിക്ക് ഞാൻ നിൽക്കുന്ന കൊച്ചി പ്രദേശത്ത് ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു മെട്രോ റെയിൽ ഓൾറെഡി ഉണ്ട്. ആ മെട്രോ റെയിലിന് വേണ്ടി ധാരാളം പാറകളെല്ലാം ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ കേരളയിലും കൂടി ഉപയോഗിക്കാനുള്ള ശ്രമത്തിലാണ്. അത്തരം വിഷയങ്ങളിൽ കൂടി കൂട്ടായി ഇടപെടണം എന്ന് മാത്രം പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ നിർത്തുന്നു. ദയവായി ക്ഷമിക്കുക, എനിക്കറിയാവുന്ന ഭാഷയിലാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. കൂടുതലായി ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ സംസാരിക്കാൻ എനിക്ക് അത്രയുള്ള കഴിവില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ഈ വിധത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞത്.
Kerala is discussing about the K-Rail. K-Rail is one of the new project proposed by the new government. He is also our organization, the River Protection Council is also worried about from where we get the resource. Now we have Kochi Metro. Already the sand, the natural resources are exploited. So if the K-Rail is coming, from where we find the resource? So they are planning to address that issues. These are the brief things I got from his talk.
For having translated well about his ideologies. Now it's the turn of Mr. P.T. John to be here to deliver his talk. P.T. John, please.
For about a year, I'm very happy that this kind of a dialogue session organized in Alway the people, those who are really done research and studies, and those who are really require the natural resources, join together for a initiative. If we can draw a plan of a proper people's participatory method for protecting the natural resources, whether the Western Ghats protection or river protection, basically this is natural resources. So a people's movement is the need of the hour for protecting our natural resources. Why I am stipulating this? We are facing a hell lot of problem from the corporates. Unfortunately, our rulers, our bureaucrats, all are with whom? Our bureaucrats, our rulers all are with whom? All are with corporates. All are with corporates. So, all the policies, all the laws are framing for them. Why the farmer struggle? Why the farmer struggle? The laws, the farm bills passed by the parliament is not for the farmer, that's for the corporates. So the fact we realize that this is for the corporates, so we should fight till the success of the struggle. Like that, actually, not the farmers, really the Mailama, a tribal woman from Plachimada, is the first fighter against the world's #1 corporate Coca-Cola from Plachimada. And the tribal people, they realized that we lost our water, our farming is stopped, our children are not able to go to school, diseases. What is the reason? They are not fighting against Coca-Cola, they are fighting for the right of the water. They were fighting for the right of the water. We need. Your government can make 1 drop of water. That was she asked. The Panchayat can make 1 drop of water. This is our natural resource. The nature is giving water to us. How can you exploit? How can you ban it? So, the natural resource like air, water, Mother Earth, the protection, in the name of protection of water, in the name of protection of air, the governments are protecting the rights, protecting the interest of the corporates. This is the issue. So, how we can resist? It's not a simple thing. One thing is, we cannot see the face of the corporate, first of all. Faceless capital, criminal capital hegemony is dominated. Luckily, Tampen Thomas came here. He inaugurated the session. Actually, a unity of working class and environmentalists, activists, farmers, tribals, Dalits, all should come together in this moment. Because normally we know the trade unions are for the rights of the workers. He told that. Endosulfan is banned in Kerala, but endosulfan is available in Tamil Nadu. And the Kerala people are going and buying endosulfan from Tamil Nadu. They are using 4,000. Why still endosulfan is in the market? 40 employees issue is there. Endosulfan is producing by National Chemicals Limited. That's a Government of India company. Still they are producing because 40 workers are in that company. For the protection of the workers, that production is going on. You know, why the endosulfan affected children in Kasaragod? How they used the endosulfan in Kasaragod, you know? they sprayed the endosulfan aerially. Helicopters sprayed in air. We can stop drinking of water for a day. Can you stop taking our Jivaswasam? Huh? Yeah. Huh? Breathe. Can you stop or breathe? So, the women who were in that area, they are affected. The children, the next generation. Mr. Madhavan is from that side. He's from Karnataka. He came from Bangalore, but he knows very well about the endosulfan victims' issues of Kasaragod. Who is responsible? Who is responsible? The policy makers, right? Who is responsible? The government is responsible. Government is responsible for that situation. They are the rulers. They are creating this. So, where is the space? Endosulfan is the criminal act of a government company called Plantation Corporation. Plantation Corporation of Kerala is sprayed this endosulfan. What is the right of the government? To pollute the air. They polluted the air. What is the right of the government? To pollute the water? They pollute the water. Then they are asking us, don't pollute water. They are asking us, don't pollute air. Who is Onnam Pradi? First accused. Who is? First accused is the government and political parties in the governments. Plachimada you take. All the licenses Coca-Cola got from the government. The first accused in Plachimada also is the government. So, the policies they are framing is for the interest of the criminal capital hegemony. This is what I realized. So, the people should unite for a new, because we don't know how now this Thambi is sitting here. He'll talk about the kind of criminalization in through the WHO and other people in this pandemic. Shall I stop? So, Western Ghat protection, river, optimum utilization of river. This can be achieved in one act, what I feel. India passed a bill in 2006, that is Forest Right Act. Forest Right Act. If you implement Forest Right Act, the tribal people will protect our Western Ghat. Our tribal people will protect the water resources, because the way they are protecting the water resources is amazing. You cannot imagine, the engineers cannot imagine the way they are protecting the sources, whether that is in Talakaveri or any small areas. Why the government is not implementing Forest Right Act? If you pass Forest Right Act, the tribal people will get the right over the forest, the community right they will get. If they get the community right, you cannot you cannot mine the area. The government is for whom? For the mining lobby, not for the tribal people. Government is for the mining lobby. So if you want to stop mining, the Forest Right Act must be implemented. This is my thinking. In 2006, Forest Right Act passed. 16 years over. Why? Because that is voiceless Adivasis, tribals. That's why they are not implemented. I'm not taking much time. I have only one suggestion. വ്യവസായികൾ പാതുകാപ്പ് സംഘം തലവറുകൾ activists are here. With happiness I am telling, my friend River Protection Committee secretary told that we have sufficient rivers, sufficient water, but there is no drinking water. You heard that? We are cultured, we are literate, we are number one in everything. See, in everywhere we are number one. We have a lot of water, rivers, but no drinking water. That's what he is telling. So here, actually, the relationship of the states, the relationship between the state and center also should be discussed seriously. I believe that 99% of the river water in Kerala is not utilizing, not at all utilizing, flowing simply to the ocean. Only one river, I think, flowing to Karnataka and from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. Kabini is the number one. രണ്ടാമത്തെ ഏതാ? ഭവാനി എവിടുന്ന? കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്നാ? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Mullaperiyar is മുല്ലപ്പെരിയാർ ഡാം കെട്ടിയത് കൊണ്ടാണ് തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലേക്ക് വെള്ളം കിട്ടുന്നത്. ശിരുവാണിയുണ്ട്, റൈറ്റ്. സോ the water from Pathanamthitta, Idukki districts, Pamba, Achangovil, these are all the rivers. The water can be utilized in an optimum level. So if you can utilize that water in an optimum level, the agriculture growth will be more, happiness will be there, sharing of life, sharing of happiness, everything will be there. But unfortunately, the politicians, they are creating the enmity among the states and the people. So this can be addressed through a dialogue with the trade unions and the farmers' organizations and people's movement. A participatory platform should be developed, a platform. Tampan Thomas is a good person for that because he was the president of HMS, a senior-most leader from Kerala, so he can coordinate other central trade unions also and the politicians also. And my request is, in this process, we should start a dialogue with the rulers, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, the rulers and the scientists and the intellectuals regarding this and take appropriate decision for a better utilization of water and protection of the natural resources. Natural resource is our right. No, that's not under the mercy of the government. This is our right, people's right. You cannot command on this. Otherwise, if they can produce water, okay, fine. Government cannot produce water. Coca-Cola cannot produce water. This is natural resource. The protection of the natural resource is the very important aspect. For that, I put these suggestions before the body as a social activist. At any extent, I am ready to work for the implementation of this kind of a mechanism with other states. Thank you.